Hey Glizzy, how are you? How are you? How are you? How are you, Glizzy? Trying to figure out how to actually do my hair today. Never quite figured out. But yeah, just waking up, having my second cup of coffee, and trying to plan what we're doing today because I got 350 mining over the last couple days. And now we can mine in Northrend, but I'd like to start working towards cold weather flying. We got to get at least to level 77 to do that. How do you drink your coffee? Black. Usually I use like the tea straw because it's easier, but actually lately I've just been filtering it again. It's a little bit like it's not as like bitter tasting. And I mean it's like it doesn't make it as strong. It's like every time, like I know that I'm like saying a lot of the times that I'm not really working on anything, but really every single moment of every day I'm like thinking about things. And like even like whenever I start my stream and like look at the camera, like for like these past like 4.5 or whatever years, like I've been learning how to like actually learn the skills necessary to be like a model and an actress. I do need coaching, but I think there's like a lot I can notice at the very least, so that when I go into coaching I'll have like a lot more stuff to kind of latch on to, that like I can have some things corrected, but at least I'll have like a starting point. So it's like I just kind of jump on a trampoline and try to hit the spot. And you know, like I could start out from the very beginning and just wait until I have coaching to start, or I can do whatever I can on my own. Like learning how to like relax the muscles in my face, you know, because like I have a tendency to like yeah, like I need to be able to control my facial muscles, because that's how you come up with like different ways of setting your face. Like yeah, there's like the stoic look where you just relax everything. But not so much that I'm like droopy like that, like I have to do something with the eyes where it's like there's a little bit of life in the eyes, but not like in the eyes, but not like Christopher Lloyd. Like and smiling is sometimes called for, but sometimes you just have to have the like smoldering look or whatever, like blue steel. Merman, Merman. That movie is so great, man. I love it. I remember when that movie came out. Zoolander. It was so funny. Ben Stiller. Okay, so I need to get my stuff out of the bank. Hey, Booper. What's up with that guy's name? Loving Death Knight? Sounds like a I mean, my first instinct is thinking that's like a weird name, but it might just be like a Western shooter, not like a, oh god. Because I know that guy in the guild, I don't know, it's just like, I think it's because it's his hunter. I don't know. I don't like to like immediately jump to conclusions. I'm like, and then it's like, well, what if it's like a black guy and then I'm racist because I'm like, you know, it's like when you constantly jump back and forth, like is somebody a white supremacist or are they like just a black guy and he's playing a hunter? And it's like, I don't even know, man. Sometimes I don't want to just like leave the guild because of something like that unless there's some kind of like obvious issue. It's just sometimes people's names will make me a little uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Okay, what was I doing? I need to get my stuff out of the bank. I think for now it's Hearthstone. I want to get my stuff out of the bank, and I think I should do a dungeon. Hey, what's up, Lucas? Okay, I mean, there's a bank here. I can just... And we get another influx of gold. Hey, it's from you, Booper. Why are you buying all my stuff? Are you like doing a lot of crafting? Like I definitely appreciate the gold, but like, so I mean I'm not gonna complain. Somebody's gotta buy it.
Greetings.
Okay, now I need like to get my stuff out of here. My trinkets. My extra I don't know if I need any extra trinkets. In case I just like would want to switch to these kind of. Like, I don't know, I usually just like, we'll get extra stuff just in case. Like in case I wanted to switch trinkets, but it's not even gonna be an issue.
Be careful.
Oh, oops. Yeah, I need to...
Well met.
Oh yeah, and I need my food here. on my potions. Yeah, I haven't been in like dungeon or like questing mode for a while. Oh, I should actually just vendor that. Yeah, I can just vendor that.
For the Alliance.
Yeah, so that's why I'm holding off on jewel crafting. Precisely because it takes a lot of mats and I'm not really at that kind of gold flow yet. Death Gate? What the fuck is a death gate? Why would I click on it? What the fuck? Sees death gate, clicks on it. Jeez. Okay, I need to... Let's go do a dungeon.
I supply only the finest goods. See you around. Okay, this is Azul Nurub. Now I haven't really done too many, or I've done them, but I don't really remember doing a lot of the Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. So this is kind of now's the time to slowly kind of just acclimate myself to Wrath of the Lich King stuff. I mean, we got. I mean, it's gonna be Wrath of the Lich King until summer, until like August. So you know, level 72. Just slowly getting towards level 80, and we're going to be doing a lot of Wrath content.
I sense the living. Be ready.
Okay, Atlan. I guess, yeah, probably the mage should have vigilance.
We must hold the gate. Attack! Tear them limb from limb.
Oh shit. Someone left. What the fuck? The fuck? How do I? Oh, where's the dungeon entrance? Is it down here? Yeah, Daedalo, we're doing some Northrend stuff. Haven't really done any, like, battle content for the past couple, for the past week. And I'm also kind of new to, I'm actually new to, like, Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. So we're having a little bit of struggle. Oh, shit. Okay, I guess I can't take one at a time.
We must hold the gate. Attack! Tear them limb from limb.
Yeah, when I do gamma dungeons. Yeah, that's gonna be insane. Well, this is how I learn. I gotta learn getting on the way up to 80. At least I'm not on hardcore.
Strike out and bring back their corpses.
Yeah, great, really good paladin hands drop for Aslan. Extra spell power and mana per 5 seconds.
The gate has been breached. Quickly divert forces to deal with it.
I guess she's gonna kill all the ads. Leathered. Ah, someone's all tied up in spider web.
Agony awaits you! Your armor is useless against my locust. Come forth, my brethren. Feast on their flesh. Come forth, my brethren. Feast on their flesh.
Buffering. Hey, AI Hive Mind. Are you gonna play Power World? Probably not, unless it's free. Which I don't think it is. Oh, the hunter was left out.
The pestilence upon you!
Yeah, we went without the hunter.
Free of him.
The hype, $30. You know, you learn this after a while, but
every single video game is hype. And if you try to join every single game that's hype, you're gonna end up with an empty bank account. I've been around for a long time, okay? Yeah, I know there's 1.2 million online. Everyone's gonna forget about it in like 3 months. And then they're gonna be playing some new game. Yes, but this one is the game. This one is the one that you absolutely need to play. You absolutely need to play this game. All the streamers are playing it. You need to stream it. It does look interesting, but I'm just not too interested. Yeah, this is Wrath of the Lich King Progressive Server, Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Well, I'm a tank, that's why. I'm not the best tank, and I still need better gear, but we're not even... We can worry about that level 80, okay? Like, all this is just preparation H. Preparation H, okay? Uh-oh. What a cordon bleu. What?
I have not gotten any actual mounts besides the ones that I got, like a great purple Alec and an Ebon Griffin. That's it. I haven't even gotten a fast flying yet. Well, the Death Knight left. Should get replaced pretty soon. Someone has declined the invite? Someone has declined. A DPS has declined the invite. I gotta update LUI again.
I need more mana.
Your blood is mine! Naranel Ladell! Their fates shall be yours! Not so fast! Not so fast! I enjoyed the night.
Where do you go after you can out tank or out heal any pug group at level 80, but you don't have a deep friend list? You start doing heroics? I don't have no idea. I've never been level 80. Try to make friends, I guess. Because you're playing again with people that are carrying you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just how it is. Sometimes you need a little help from your friends. And then eventually you start carrying people. You know, that's just how it goes. I'm on Grobulus. Natrazim. Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm just getting started, so I'm just basically doing what I can, getting through the Wrath of the Lich King content while it still lasts, and then Cataclysm comes out, and I'll start Cataclysm probably. We'll see. Oh, is after Draenor?
out of mana.
What does racking pains do? I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm still learning a lot, so... Precise strikes? Yeah, they're just stuff that happens. Yeah, wrecking pains, I think it just like gives extra... like it just gives extra stuff. They're from like talents. Gives like extra stats or like extra critical strikes or like sword and board. Makes like sword and board makes shield slam, which is a really good threat generator. 100% free, no rage.
Muster the nerve to join my attack.
I also have an ability, Racking Pains. Next 10 melee or ranged attacks will grant 15 crit rate.
Don't jump into the fray.
Jesus, what happened to the mage? I have all the threat.
Death.
Precise strikes? Yeah, it's just all talent stuff. Maybe glyphs, I don't know. I forgot. It's been a quite... I haven't actually done dungeons for... I was busy mining for like the past week. I haven't really been thinking about battling. So I'm a little bit rusty. Do I wait for racking pains to A up and then unload all stuff? I mean, I have to keep hate. It's not about DPS. I'm trying to tank. So I gotta keep doing damage over time. If I just wait for racking pains, like, everything's up, you know, pretty soon either way. It's really fast recast. I can't just auto attack waiting for racking pains. Then I won't keep threat and I'll do less damage. Yeah, because otherwise everyone's gonna die. Because I won't keep threat. Like, I'm not just trying to, and also like there's damage over time, not just damage all at once. And like racking pains, like that's more of a bonus. It's not really about like waiting until it procs. Like, plus, I'm still learning and trying to min-max that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, maybe I could time my rotation a little bit more precisely, but like, you know, so that I maximize those 15 seconds so that cooldowns aren't up, you know, but that's like ridiculous. Like, I'm not even, like, I'm barely holding myself together even, like, that's the last thing I should do. That's the absolute last thing I should think about.
Face with your blood!
It says smash, but it has the cleave. Like, it has the cleave picture on it. Thumbnail.
My life for the death god!
Ingvar, your pathetic failure will serve as a warning to all. You are damned.
Shit.
Arise and carry out the master's will.
Holy shit.
Time! A second chance to carve your skull!
And every time that sound comes on, the clink, that's I get a free. It immediately allows shield slam. I have no idea if they drop anything good. I'm just trying to get clears and. I'm just trying to get clears and stuff. Oops. Their rage dump? Yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to I don't think there's really much rage dump. I basically have to just keep rage up for like using like stuns and stuff. There's it's not like Fury. Fury just like you can just unload all your, I mean, last time I played Fury was on retail, but I know that Fury you just like absolutely unload rage, but then you generate so much crazy amount of rage. Basically, I just have to keep it basically keeps most of the time I notice it just keeps stacked up all the way up. And like, I guess I just use it for like, you know, utility spells. Is, you know, like if I need to do other stuff, like spell reflection, concussion blow, shield bash, mocking blow, disarm, you know, like all my debuffs and stuff. I got a trinket that gives me additional haste. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough for now. We've only been going for an hour and a half. I'm always at 100 rages tanking, yeah. Well, I mean, it's safe to play, it's fun to play, and you get good groups, and you help the group out. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to have as much DPS and threat generation as possible, but you know, the toolkit alone is already pretty good. I think, you know, like, Prot Warrior is like the best in slot for tanking. I don't know if it's like... I don't know about safe to play. Nothing is really fully safe at the top level of anything. Like, you know, we're not even at level 80 in heroics yet and stuff. So, you know, it's like you really gotta min-max for everything, no matter what. Yeah, I'm a little bit kind of worn out. I just like wanted to log in and play, but I kinda need to take a break. I want to do some reading. Sometimes I feel a little bit weird, and I just don't really want to keep going. I'll be back later, of course, whenever. I like to document my gameplay. Like, if I'm gonna play a game, I may as well stream it, is the way I think about it. Welcome to the channel, by the way, Hive Mind. Have you been here before? I think so. I'm not sure. I don't know, sometimes I feel a little bit weird. One of the guild members' names just kind of threw me off a little bit, but also I might be thinking way too much into it. It's like a hunter, and I think it's a black guy, so I think if I was weird about it, it would make me racist, if anything. But I think it's just ridiculous to think too much about shit online. It's like, it's obvious if somebody is like, because it's like, I think it's like a hunter, and he's like trying to think like, you know, like a sharpshooter. But I guess it might be a black guy. Every single character he plays is named Black. Or it's not even black as far as skin color. It could be like black, like when people like in Lord of the Rings and stuff, when they talk about a black rider, like it's just a dark rider. I don't even know. I think if you think way too much about stuff, you'll drive yourself insane and you'll cook your brain. Oh, you probably found me through Asmongold because the algorithm will serve me up. I've been kind of utilizing that to my advantage a little bit. I'm not really trying to get too many viewers. It's not really how streaming works. I'm really just kind of doing my thing. I'm going through a lot of stuff in my life. No, it wasn't blacked. That's a porn thing. I think I'm being way too weird. I don't even think, like, I need to ask, like, black people what they would think about that. I'm a white person. Why am I so fragile? There's a thing called white fragility. Like, I've actually, like, there's a whole book about it. It's about how white people are afraid to talk about black issues. And, like, every black person I've talked to is like, what the fuck are you worried about? Like, like, in person. Like, I've talked to black people in person, they're like, chill. Like, you don't need to be on edge. Like, you don't need to be worried about being canceled or whatever. Like, people constantly think about, like, if I talk about this, I'm gonna get canceled by people. It's like, really? Like, the only people who are gonna think it's weird are probably white people. Like, then I don't want to get canceled by white people, but then why am I, like, catering myself? And then it's, like, actually racist, because then I'm not talking about black issues, and just to keep white people feeling comfortable. I think the whole thing is ridiculous, and I think maybe at long last, I think we're approaching a time where cancel culture is just dying because it's starting to affect everyone, and if you go one way in a certain direction long enough, I think then it starts coming back the other direction. And now it's like some people, not all people, some people actually deserve criticism, you know, because they're actually racist. But like some people are actually being discriminated against for being white. And it's like, okay, and then people, and then you know, obviously people are like, oh, boo-hoo for white person. And it's like, okay, but then if you do that long enough, doesn't that turn into the same kind of problem? Like, and then now white people are like discriminated. It's like, I can understand that, but cancel culture doesn't want to, let's cancel culture. I think it's because it's ineffective, and it's also just really offensive in and of itself. It's like it's doing the thing it's trying to prevent. Like, because like there's bigger issues at stake, and there's more effective ways of going about change. Because people are just getting really fucking annoyed. And like, I'm LGBTQ, I'm a trans woman, and I'm like, and I'm fed up, and it's like a stereotype of like me being trans. Like it's a stereotype that we're the cancel people, but like I'm fed up with it. I used to kind of be a lot more like social justice warrior type. I think I was just really frustrated with what I was going through, but as I've gone through my transition, you know, especially in, you know, you can't really tell because I'm not in booba mode, but like as you know, when I get the longer I've gone on hormones and that I've gotten my surgery, like I've had facial surgery and I'm about to have my bottom surgery. So you caught me at a really important time in my life. So welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Anybody here along the journey these past like 4.5 years? I'm barely even just getting started with my, as far as content creation goes. I'm basically just on autopilot, just lazy mode right now for the longest time. Because I'm just trying to get through this medical stuff. But at the longer I've gone through transitioning, the less I've cared so much about like what people say on the internet. And I feel like more people should just be allowed to just be accepted for who they are in their own lives, so that they don't have to go to the internet to try to get acceptance. Because when people go on the internet to get acceptance, then it's like you always have to create a safe space, and the internet is not a safe space. Okay, the internet's full of an international audience. There's people from different countries with different values, which obviously at some point, yeah, there's some people that are like, I just can't interact with. Like if people are going to be like religious fundamentalists of any religion, it's not just Christianity or Islam. It's like, and you know, and there's probably even some Jewish people that would be mad about it. Although I do know in Judaism, there's like more acceptance of, there's more acceptance of like a broader range of gender, because they like recognize like six distinct genders in Judaism, which is kind of interesting. But then it's like kind of like, then there's kind of like a misogyny movement, and like an anti-misogyny movement in Judaism. And there's a lot of women, including trans women, that are like kind of leading like, hey, like there's women voices in Judaism, and there's like, you know, women rabbis and stuff like that. Internet is a war zone. Yeah, I mean, it's a war zone of like bullshit that doesn't matter. It's like, it's a whole bunch of people like getting mad about stuff because they're frustrated with their own lives, because either they are A, discriminated against because they're part of a minority or just a marginalized group, or B, they're just like kind of like blending into the background, going from paycheck to paycheck, struggling to pay the bills, and they or some kind of combination of both, or they're just like actually doing okay, but then they're just like, I'm just like a cisgender white male, nobody cares about me because I'm not like an ethnic group, or I'm not. And it's like, obviously sometimes those types of people of any group, but like sometimes those people get a little bit too boohoo for me. But then that same thing happens with everybody else, and I feel like the more I blame other people, the more the people who are actually trying to keep me down will win. Because there's people who like, they see like a trans person getting upset about something, and sometimes and oftentimes it's something genuinely like concerning. Like somebody like a lot of the time it's not even the outright transphobia, because I can just dismiss that. Like if someone's gonna misgender me or like, you know, call me ugly or whatever the fuck they're gonna do, I just ignore that shit. It's just haters on the internet. It doesn't matter who you are or like what demographic you're in. People are gonna latch on to whatever they can, and for me it's because I'm trans, so they're gonna latch on to that. Like if I was black, they would latch onto that. If I was Asian, they would latch on. Like, you know, these people, that's all they do. I don't really care so much about that because I mean, it hurts, but you know, I can just dismiss it. It would be the same no matter what demographic. If I had, you know, pretended to be a male, they would probably find some other thing. Like, you know, like with Asmongold, it's like because he's balding. You know, it's like that's a meme now, but like at the same time, it's like XQC, like it's because he's like a goblin. You know, like people, and Hassan because he's a big fucking giant with a small head. And, you know, like with women, it's like because they're women. And it's like with women and you're trans, it's because you're trans. And it's like, or, you know, whatever. It's really the smaller stuff, especially from people who actually like you interact with that are like really good people. That's the stuff that hurts the most, because when those people kind of don't get it right, you can kind of forgive them. But if it keeps happening and you feel like you can't really speak up, like you don't really feel like you can speak your mind, because then you might get accused of being too sensitive, and then it causes all this friction, and then it does create like a gap. But if you stay quiet long enough, and then people don't really, you know, people just kind of ignore like these like little rude things they do. It's not, they don't know they're being rude, or maybe they do, but like they don't think it's a big deal. It really starts to affect you, and you're like, should I bring this up, or am I just being like too like am I just being too offended? And I don't want to be labeled as like the offended trans person. It's a stereotype, and I don't like being labeled that. I don't like feeling like that. I always try to take personal accountability. I always try to say what, you know, give people the benefit of the doubt until they really prove otherwise. And so, like, you know, it kind of set off, you know, this is why I'm kind of distracted. It's because I kind of set off that, like, little thing inside of me that, like, says, like, you need to, like, leave the guild, or you need to cancel. I'm like, why? Like, everybody in the guild's super nice. And this guy might actually just be a black guy who names all of his characters black. He has not given me a single vibe that he's, like, a racist guy. And it's just, he plays a hunter, and it has shooter in the name. And I'm like... Or it could be like, I don't know, like it's people have weird names, and I think even weirder names on WoW, so I try not to think about it too much. Yeah, his mating habits, he's like a wild animal. Well, he at least admits it, that he's a wild animal. Yeah, when you're talking about some people getting offended, you're already like, fuck, there's already haters there. I don't know. I don't know if we see more hate or less. I think it's just more, there's, I think it's different when it's like right now, our actual human rights are under fire. It'd be a little different if things were more like level. Like the kind of hate we get might be normal if we were like already like had protected legal rights, like if we had protected healthcare, which more states are actually giving, even Republican states. They're like five-head moves. Yeah, people just sometimes, but like maybe this guy, I don't think so. I don't think it's like anything bad, and if it was, maybe I don't think he did it on purpose. But I don't know. It's just one of those things that really set me off. As like, I don't want to just leave this guild that's been really nice to me and has actually been super awesome about me being trans, which is kind of hard for a guild to do in a game like WoW, especially WoW Classic. I feel like there's a lot of right-wing people that are like, you know, transphobic, or at least kind of like, at least a little bit aversive, or what's the word? A little bit like kind of, I guess they get offended that trans people exist. There's like some kind of aversion to trans people, even if it's like not like outward transphobia. It's just like kind of like people are like think we're gross, or they think we're awkward or weird, and it's like, yeah, I'm awkward, but that's a different reason. Adversarial, not adversarial, like they just have an aversion to the thought of trans people existing because it makes them uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, well, you just get used to it. Like, you know, what if I was black? Like, you just have to get, you like, would you, and somebody felt uncomfortable that a black person was in the guild. You know, like, if you put that in perspective, that sounds like very different, but it's like, for some reason, people don't put two and two together. It's like if there's a trans person in your guild and that makes you uncomfortable, like, what if it was a black person in your guild and you were uncomfortable? Like, how would people judge you for that? You know? And they're like, oh, but that's different because they're like convinced that being trans is some kind of lifestyle choice. It's like, no, I got lifestyle choices, but that's, you know, like, that's not that has nothing to do with like being trans. Like, being trans doesn't change who you are as a person. Like, it kind of just makes you be okay with your body somewhat so that you can just be a normal person and live your life. And, you know, like, obviously, like, I was trying to live my life without doing any kind of transition, and it didn't work out too well. And now that I'm like actually like taking care of all that stuff, I can actually see like a big ray of hope in my life in the future. Like, stuff is actually happening. It's a little bit slow right now because the surgery is like, it's on the schedule again. It got delayed in November. So that's why I started playing WoW, because like I had to start taking care of my health better. I'm diabetic, and so the doctor wanted to delay it because my A1C wasn't exactly where he wanted. So like what happened was I started really working out harder. I started dieting better, or eating better. Diet's a weird word. I made my diet even stricter about like carb intake and stuff like that. And I ate like even like healthier food and food that's known to like help with like diabetes. I'm type 1 diabetic. I raised my insulin dosage and I started working out more, meditating, and all the sorts of stuff, because you don't want to be like worked up all the time, because like it'll change your blood pressure, which can affect your A1C levels. It'll affect your blood sugar. And so like I want my blood sugars to be like kind of like on an even keel at a certain range for long periods of time, because it's a 3-month average. And in a single month, I got it down to 6.7. And I've been maintaining since then. I just got to make sure it doesn't go back up. Otherwise, this surgery will get delayed again. But it got scheduled for March. And so now it's on the schedule, and I just have to patiently wait. But back in November, when I got that news, while I was doing all that important stuff, I started playing WoW, because I'm like, I need something to really keep me busy. I need something to give, you know, just to have fun with and be stupid. I'm monitoring blood sugar levels because I'm diabetic. I'm type 1 diabetic, and also surgery. I mean, really, I mean, I need to be keeping my blood sugar levels regular for the rest of my life. I've been waiting for 18 years. Oh, so you've seen me on YouTube. Okay, so you've seen some of my videos already. I realized ever since I started streaming WoW, more people are popping into my channel. And I think it's like what you said. I think it's because of Asmongold, like, because he plays WoW, and because of WoW. Like, people are just like getting people are like, why was I recommended on your feed? And I get the transphobic comments. I kind of just ignore them. It's not about being skinny. I'm type 1 diabetic. Like, it's nobody fully knows what causes diabetes, even type 2. I know people say it's usually because of obesity or whatever, but people actually literally don't know what causes any form of diabetes. You saw 1 hour and 20 minutes? Wow, well, you're pretty dedicated. I appreciate you watching my VODs. You know, I stream because I like to document all this stuff. I like to document what I have to say, and I like interacting with chat like I am with you right now. Type 1 diabetes is where, okay, so the difference between type 1 and type 2. Type 1, so there's an organ called the pancreas, and both type 1 and type 2 are basically about the pancreas. So what type 1 is the pancreas makes these cells called beta cells. And beta cells create insulin. And what insulin does is it takes the blood sugar from all the carbohydrates and all the sugars and stuff that everything gets converted into glucose, into your bloodstream. And it just stays in your bloodstream. And your muscles and your organs, everything in your body needs energy. And so what your pancreas does is it creates these things called beta cells, which then generate insulin, and insulin delivers that glucose from your blood and it delivers it into your muscles and into your organs so that they can function. And if you don't make any insulin anymore, so what type 1 diabetes is your body, it's an autoimmune response. So your body will start attacking the beta cells because it thinks that it's like a virus. It thinks it's a disease or a cancer or something. Or whatever. No, cancer is the opposite. Cancer it won't kill it. With viruses or bacteria, your body will create an autoimmune response and it'll see it as a foreign invader and it'll kill it. In type 1 diabetes, your body starts seeing the beta cells, which are generating insulin, which is a hormone that goes throughout your body to regulate blood sugar levels, because it'll use it's like manna. Like the glucose in your bloodstream is like manna, and it'll use the manna to heal to like generate energy, to like enhance your muscles and your organs so they can function. No, I don't know. I didn't say there's a link between diabetes and cancer. What I'm saying, cancer is not like an autoimmune. What happens, from my understanding of cancer is when your body doesn't attack things that it needs to. Because usually what happens is your body will create an autoimmune response and it'll start killing off anything that doesn't belong there. But with cancer, they just stay alive. It doesn't kill them off. So that's why you get big tumors and shit like that. Because your body's supposed to kill that off, but it doesn't. But with diabetes and like viruses and diseases, your body is confused and it thinks that it needs to kill off the blood cells, and then it kills them off. And then for the rest of your life, you can't generate beta cells anymore, which means that you can't create insulin anymore. So now I have to inject insulin, and I have 2 types of insulin I take. There's one called Glargine, and this is the brand name Basaglar. Glargine is a long-acting insulin that I inject every night. I mostly use this one. I inject 18 units now. It's sliding scale depending on your needs. I was taking 16. I raised it up to 18. And so basically this acts over like 24 to 32 hours or so. And you take this every day. And it's like long-acting insulin. It kind of keeps you at a base level, which is like why this is like Basaglar or Basaglar. There's called a thing called basal insulin levels, which is like the insulin in your body that is like a baseline. And then this is Admelog, but this is called Lispro insulin, and it's a different color because this can actually this is dangerous, like this stuff, and I have these special pen needles that are less less invasive to the environment, I guess, because they're smaller and whatever. This is actually really dangerous, and I really try to limit this because this can actually kill me. And if you take too much, what happens is then with too much insulin, it'll drain all the blood glucose from your body. It'll use too much. It's like you'll be out of mana. And when you're out of mana, you can go into, you can have a heart attack, you can have a stroke, you can go into a coma, or you could die. At the very least, it's not very good for you, because if you shock your system, it really fucks with your hormone levels, like the different hormones like epinephrine and adrenaline and insulin, of course. Insulin I have to inject. My body knows how to use it. So in type 2 diabetes, you still can create insulin, and I think eventually maybe that dies out. But your body still creates insulin, but it doesn't know how to use it. And so people will need, you have insulin, but it's not, like the glucose is still flowing through your blood. The reason why you need insulin is because obviously your cells need the energy, so they're going to get it somewhere. And if they're not getting it from glucose, it's going to start using your fat. And if you burn fat for energy, it starts poisoning your body, because there's a thing called ketones, and you get what's called ketoacidosis. And ketoacidosis can really harm you over time. And I was undiagnosed for a while because I was young and I was skinny, and I did not even think of getting diagnosed with diabetes until I had a huge problem and I got hospitalized. My blood sugar was 700, which, by the way, 180 is the higher level. If you're 700 or above, that's serious issue. You need to go to the hospital, the emergency room. It's a lot of responsibility, but you get used to it. It's just a daily thing. Like, it's just like taking your morning vitamins. That's pretty much it now. If you do the right things. It takes a lot of work, but once you... Like, it's taken a lot of work, and it's taken this, like, massive medical undertaking of trying to get this surgery to happen that I can absolutely never do unless I get the surgery. I'm getting off, Twice Slicer. Yeah, I'm actually about off. I'm just kind of closing out the stream for now. It's something that you get used to. It took me, like, it's also, interestingly enough, it's taken me 18 years to be able to manage this properly. It's taken me 18 years. I was actually misdiagnosed as type 2, and I got re-diagnosed. The immune system, yeah, your ego is the immune system to your body. Anything that's like this, you really want to listen to long-term research and stuff that doctors will talk about, because anything that's like, here, try this new thing, it's really going to clean out your body, or like, the stuff that's good for you has been good for you for like decades or longer. Yeah, it was really weird. The reason why I got misdiagnosed was because I guess there is a rare form of type 1 that is treated, that like is diagnosed as type 2. It only affects like 5% of diabetics who are type 1. They call it type 1.5. I guess it's like late onset adult diabetes. I don't know what it is. But basically, usually people who have type 1 don't develop symptoms, and they usually develop them very early on, like when they're kids. But I either was undiagnosed or it didn't start until later. Which is why I got misdiagnosed, because most adults who didn't have it as kids, there's a lot of things that really happen, and it's all like the same pattern. Everything that is going on with me flew under the radar as a child. I didn't know about gender issues. I was like really confused as a kid. I had no idea what was going on. I just blamed myself for everything. I thought it was normal to have these like really fucked up feelings about yourself. I thought that was just part of growing up. And it's not, because obviously it's very different for 1% of us who are trans. But I also did not get an autism diagnosis because, like, I guess I just got punished a lot. I was seen as a troublemaker, even though I was having like actual autism issues. Try this new bleach shake. It's super nutritious and can cure cancer. Yeah, don't drink bleach. Medicine isn't like super complex. You really just have to listen to your doctor. And yeah, I'm autistic. And I didn't get diagnosed until I was 31. And it all started when I really started working with my doctor. Like, I really had to like actually go to therapy, because I avoided therapy. I hadn't talked to my doctor in years. That's not how autism works. I know there's a lot of misconceptions about autism. I don't really want to get into that. I don't really need to defend myself. But I urge you to read up a little bit more about autism. It's not something that you can see. It's something like, it's the way my brain works. And it manifests itself in different ways. And sometimes there's a thing called masking, where I can behave a certain way that people won't really notice. And I learned that from a very early age. If I'm really frustrated, it'll become really obvious. I start stammering, and I start like, there's a whole bunch of stimming stuff goes on. Usually the only things that make that happen are things that really affect me long term. Things that I have no control over. Things like, the fact that I'm permanently disabled and I can't earn an income, no matter how hard I try. But there is hope. And that's the hope I was telling you about. I generally try to avoid talking about it like this, but I have a promising career in the adult industry, doing porn and camming and OnlyFans. So I'm going to start doing that whenever I'm ready, long time after surgery, probably like somewhere between like at least 3 to 9 months, probably towards the later end of that, where I can get back to doing that. But I have some really good numbers for an absolute beginner, including a single person giving me $1,000. But yeah, there's going to be a physical reality after surgery. I'm changing my penis to a vagina. spectrum disorder. That's not really how autism works. Obviously, see, okay, so a lot of people really misunderstand medicine. The reason why people think that if they read about autism that they're going to start identifying it is because there's a lot of things that are common to just being a normal person. Doctors will have a thing called like a they do like a cross-referential diagnosis or something, or whatever it's called. They look at symptoms and they cross-reference them with other things that are going on to make sure that they don't get a misdiagnosis. I don't give a fuck, then I won't have that boyfriend. I'll leave him because he's a loser. I don't care about having a boyfriend. Yeah, it's a lot of nitty gritty that like is really, I mean, I was really in denial about being autistic for the longest time. I was really in denial about it. By the way, I'm a very individualistic person. I don't care if he's loaded. He can just go fuck himself because that's all he's ever gonna get. Because he thinks that he can own someone and make decisions for them. When I'm an autonomous person, I can make own decisions about my body and about my sexuality. I don't need a boyfriend or a girlfriend, for that matter, who's going to tell me what I can or can't do with my own body. Like, if you know, I am a sexual person, I'm pansexual, I see sex as a platonic thing. AI hive mind them, exactly. Jeez. Yeah, secretly he's just a pawn. I don't use people like that. I'm a pretty honest person. I'm a pretty honest person. But I'm hard to manipulate. Unless somebody's a master manipulator and I don't even know I'm being manipulated, but at that point I'm generally happy with it. Like, if I'm unhappy, I just say no. It's more than just money, Ramsel. It's like you have to be a certain type of person. I have a very hypersexuality. I have very specific sexual needs that can only be done by doing like public performance on film. And you know, like I want people to watch. It's a kink. You know, it's more than just money. But also I'm really good at it, and it's money, and you need money to live, and nothing else I do seems to ever yield any results. And for the first time in my whole entire life, I found something that yields results. But you know what the fucked up part is as soon as I found it, gender dysphoria got in the way again. And so now I'm gonna have this surgery after 18 years. After all this fucking time. Yeah, it's hard to put a label on autism. You can't really... There's things that like a lot of people have, and people just think of autism as socially awkward, and it's way more than that. It's an internal disorder of your brain that just filters the world differently. And a lot of the times, yeah, for a while I thought it may have been schizophrenia, but my doctors assure me, and my doctor, my primary care, actually, like, I got SSI, which is permanent disability, and you have to really fight hard for that. I had to get a lawyer for that. It took me like 2 years to get SSI so that I can actually have an income while I'm working through all this stuff, because I'm going through treatment. I'm not just sitting around being a disabled person, which I guess I could do, but I'm not the kind of person who does that. I want to make my life better. I want to go to therapy. I want to improve. I want to be able to function. I want to pay taxes. I want to contribute to society. I don't want to just sit around and collect a paycheck at the bare minimum and just, be a useless thorn in society's ass. Yeah, some people are non-verbal, like mute or whatever. Some people are like STEM a lot more. Some people have like mine is my official diagnosis is autism without intellectual or physical disability. It's mostly about emotional regulation and social integration. And the thing about that is I can eventually learn. And I've been learning for like the past 4.5 years in therapy and going to support groups. And I'm going to even reach out to more resources
I've already interviewed. Oh yeah, we're building a newer one with hookers and blackjack. Yeah. Need to buy a loaf of bread with a loan. Yeah, some people, you know, it's really difficult. Stuff like autism, especially as an adult, it's very difficult. Because people have this misconception about autism. And if you, and as an early age, I had to survive. And I didn't survive too great, but obviously I survived. In order to get through things, I learned how to mask. To make sure people don't, like, bully me. But people still bullied me. But in order to, like, at least feel like I wasn't getting bullied, I had to act a certain way to blend in. Because if I acted different, anal sex, yeah. I mean, that goes in and out. I mean, why do I need a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Why do I need to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Why is that like a... Why is that a priority? Why do I need a husband or a wife? That's not necessary. I'm an individual and I have bodily autonomy, and I would never allow myself to be under the control of someone else because that person doesn't want me to be like with other men or other women, or because they don't want me to do porn, because I'm like having sex with other men or other women. If someone's gonna get like that, I'm just gonna say no from the beginning. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that to you. You deserve someone who's going to be okay with that, and I'm not gonna be okay with that. Tropic Thunder. Yeah, I just watched that again lately. The social commentary, man. I mean, here's the thing: is I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just survival. I have a huge defense mode when it comes to romantic interests or sexual, like boyfriend or girlfriend stuff. I just am single, and I don't want to have a relationship because it's just too complicated. Especially right now, I'm going into surgery. I wouldn't want to do that to somebody that I just met. But I think it's just like, I don't want people to hurt me. I don't want people to take advantage of me. I don't want to hurt people either. And so it's like, it's easier if you just don't date. But I feel like I would even be better off if I took care of my own sexual needs first. That way, if I ever do choose to find a partner, then I would have all that shit out of the way, and I'd be able to focus on what matters, like about an intimate relationship. Like, I'd be able to focus on, like, I'm not just trying to get my sexual needs fulfilled. If I can take care of my sexual needs outside of a relationship by doing performative work, then when I go into a relationship, it's for the right reasons. Dildo and pocket pussy, some ramen, and a Netflix subscription is basically the same as having a partner. True, Marcus. It's basically the same. I have a dildo and a pocket pussy. I'm not gonna need the pocket pussy anymore, though. I have a cheap version of one of those like sex dolls that you can have sex with. I don't really use it though. I have a hard time being on top. It's gender dysphoria, man. Even though I want people to understand, even though some women have penises, and I know some people are in denial about that, but there's a very big difference if a woman with a penis turns you on and a man with a penis doesn't, or even for that matter, a man with a vagina doesn't turn you on, then what's the common factor? If you're attracted to women but you're not attracted to men, and a woman with a penis turns you on but a man with a penis or a man with a vagina doesn't turn you on, then what does that tell you about you? That you're not gay for being attracted into a woman with a penis. She just has a different kind of genital. At the same time though, people automatically, including myself honestly, associate penises with men. Yeah, start with the face. And I had facial surgery. That really helped. Things were really fucked up before, I think.
You usually just stay at the face, you just stare into their eyes while you're having sex with them, like... like stare right into... Yeah, I mean, you could say that you're going to be more of a target, but like, I don't think you should let other people decide what your personal bodily autonomy is. People already go for me, not in person, but like people already on the internet when I'm active, when I was active on my social media, on my porn account, I was having guys like constantly hounding me. Like every single show, I had like 100 to 200 concurrent viewers. At one point I had like 600 people for like an hour. Aroused and scared. It's like... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really thinking about other people as a part of this. This decision, I'm already a star. Not really. I have 11,000 followers on Chatterbait. That's about it. And you know, the same people will show up when I start. Every time I start my cam again, which I don't do anymore. I tried it out a little bit, like a month or two ago, just to see who'd show up, and I didn't even really do much. I actually didn't even show anything below the waist. Yeah, I mean, I was making some okay money for a beginner. I was making between $300 to $600 a month. But I wasn't able to stay active because of gender dysphoria. It's like when people are worshiping you for a body part you're trying to change. It really fucks with your head. So I'm kind of taking a break, and I'm gonna go at that again full force when I'm ready. But I have to be ready first, and I also want to start doing stuff like professionally, like audition and stuff. I don't want to just do stuff at home. I want to collab with people, like with other OnlyFans creators, for example. I don't know how to make that happen though, but that's not something I can work on right now. I'm gonna work on that when the time comes. And judging by how much of a self-advocate I've been over the past like 5 years or so, 4.5 years, being able to get this surgery, it was not fucking easy. You have to really advocate for yourself, and you have to constantly be on top of things. You have to constantly work with the medical system, and it's a pain in the ass. If you drop the ball, you just don't get it. And I cannot afford to not get it, because this is the only thing. This is like the only thing that can solve this. And even then, it's not 100% solution. Life is still life. You know, it's not going to solve every problem. It's going to solve that problem for the most part, as best as science can allow. There's other things that are bothering me, but I just have to get over them. And I think this will help a lot, especially since I've been thinking about this for 18 years and it hasn't gone away. Even when I tried to make it go away, even when like I shaved my head and tried to be all masculine and tried to like be all like buff and good thing I didn't bulk up and stuff, but I really tried to fight this, and you can't. And I stopped living in denial, and I started respecting myself. And you know, this is why it's not about other people. You know, if other people are gonna, you know, have an issue with it, that's their own problem. If I'm gonna get more attention from men from it, well, I may as well profit from it. But then again, women throughout history with vaginas have been dealing with that for like thousands and thousands of years. So why should I be an exempt from that? At the very least, I can at least have the best version of my own life that I can have. And that means being a woman who has a vagina. And it's that simple. It's really not that complicated. Like, it's really that simple. Like, it doesn't matter what else is going on in my life. You need to have your genitals to match who you are. And there's, like, really no way around it. And especially for me, where, you know, my sexuality is a very important part of my life. It's a very important part of my mental health, my well-being. It is for everybody, but for me, it's like, I think it might even be linked to my autistic brain. I don't think it's possible for me to be okay without having some kind of sexual release. It's been like that since I was very young. Like, I mean, I don't want to get into too, all this, but like basically, I've been aroused for like my whole life, basically. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into weird conversations, but basically, getting away from that, basically, I'm doing the right things, and I've given it a lot of thought. I've talked to my therapist about it. I've sought a whole bunch of different counsel. I've considered both sides. In fact, I considered not being trans at all, and that didn't work. I did that for a long time. I did that for like 13 years. And then almost about 5 years ago, I just couldn't take it anymore. That's all there really is to it. It's a decision to stop lying to yourself. That's what it is. That's all it boils down to. It's not a decision to change your gender. It's not a decision to have a lifestyle. It's just a decision to stop lying to yourself. That's what it is. And, ever since I did that, it made other things in my life just kind of fall into place. Like now I'm not lying to myself about my medical needs. Like for diabetes, now I'm not like, and I'm like taking care of stuff. Now I'm not lying to myself about my career needs and about my sexual needs, about my relationship goals or lack thereof. Like, I know exactly what I need most of the time. Obviously, I would like to have companionship, and maybe at some point I will want to seek out some kind of, long-term partner. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm not seeking it out. I don't want to get married. I can't have kids. I've already had orchiectomy. What if I get too hard and I get too hot and I start losing perspective? That happened a long time ago. That happened a long time ago. Okay, I'm in pretty girl Barbie land already. Okay. I mean, here's the way I look at it. This is how things would have been if I was assigned female at birth. If I hadn't gone through male puberty, and if I was born with a vagina, the only thing that's different is I wouldn't be having to fight so hard to get here. I'd still be going through pretty girl problems. Okay? I'd still be hot. I was considered hot as a male too. I didn't accept it, and there's reasons beyond gender dysphoria. Like gender dysphoria, I felt really miserable being seen as a man, and so anybody seeing me as attractive and confirming and affirming that made me feel really gross. It made me feel very mentally ill. But I was considered like male model material. Like people were saying I should like be a male model. And I was like, I hated my body. I hated sexualizing my body. I was so repressed. It was really fucked up. But I'm away from all that now. And now, I have to face the reality that life has, which is like there's trials and tribulations. There's pitfalls that you can get into. If I get too hot, like you say, which I think is a ridiculous way to think about things, I don't want to hold myself back because of what might happen. I'm going to face things as they come. Giggity. I'm going to face things as they come, and I'm going to just try to be aware of things and always seek out counsel, especially from a therapist. My therapist has been working with me for 4 years, and trust me, she trusts me to make the right decisions. And I do make the right decisions, and they're mine to make. And any mistakes that I make, they're also mine to make. I'm an adult. I'm capable of making mistakes just like anyone else. But at the same time, I'm also capable of being happy. And you have to make some risks in order to be happy. If I just wanted to just survive and not take any risks, and if I didn't care about myself enough to transition, I would have just kept living in this miserable bubble of falsehood. Oh yeah, Ron Burgundy. No, that was Sean Connery. That was Sean Connery in SNL. And by the way, I generally don't let really edgy
I don't even know. I'll take the rapist for 500. That's therapist. I had to delete the comment from Twitch because Twitch can be a little bit sensitive. Even though I only have like one viewer on Twitch. Bashin on Bashin on doctors. Bashin? Oh, like what he is, Dr. Bashir from Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Yeah, I really enjoy streaming because I like talking to people like you. I know that there's a lot of different people with different walks of life, and it's really interesting seeing people's different perspective and trying to allow people to like kind of figure things out on their own. Something that's really hard for me because I have this need to like, obviously it's my chat and I can kind of filter and moderate my chat as I see if something makes me uncomfortable, but I generally try to like, you know, let myself be uncomfortable for a little bit to try to like not be like stuck in like this like bubble, you know what I mean? I feel like you really shut yourself off from opportunities when you like shut people out. Well, I just turned 36, so we're like the same age. Yeah, I'm sure you're a beautiful man too. I think everyone's beautiful. I think it's people who think that they need people to look a certain way in order for them to be considered attractive. Everybody's attractive to somebody. And you might not think that's true, but it is. A lot of it is confidence. A lot of people who are like, you know, deemed unattractive. A lot of people who are deemed unattractive generally have lower confidence. But generally, like, people really flock to people who have confidence. And people will see that. And everybody has a type. And a lot of women, I know a lot of men don't want to admit this. Or they don't want to accept it. But a lot of women, and men as well, but a lot of women are attracted to men who are bald and who are a little bit overweight. And it's really hard for a lot of men to be okay with that. Because then because a lot of men who fall into that demographic of that appearance don't want to admit that maybe they're lonely and don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend because of a character flaw rather than because it's easy to blame your appearance. It's like, oh, I don't have a girlfriend because I'm ugly. Yeah, totally. A lot of women are into like older kind of you know, kind of flabby bald men. It's actually true. I know it sounds like I'm joking. Like I'm not. Like if you have confidence in your appearance and you're not like trying to like compensate for things, like people will accept you. And you know, it's like it's a personal problem because you're the one making it a reality. If everybody says you're ugly and then you don't even try and you become what people tell you. They're not getting the Adonises. I don't know if that's the case. That might be, but I think it's actually, I think women are more comfortable sometimes being with men who aren't like super heavily male, like, because sometimes people get an ego problem. Like a lot of those super buff guys who are like super attractive Adonises, you know, like sometimes those are really manipulative, like bad people. Because you know, it's the same problem like you said. Like if I'm too pretty, like I get an ego. You know, as long as you're aware of it, that shouldn't be an issue. I'm not going to make myself ugly just to avoid something like that when that's a personal problem. That's like a discipline problem. I think most of the time people who are considered unattractive are not alone because of their appearances, because they could totally get dates. They could 100% get dates, but they don't want to admit to themselves that maybe it's something else that's in their control, such as the way they behave or the stuff they do. They don't want to admit that because it's so much easier to say, oh, well, I'm not getting dates because these other guys are hotter than me. And women do this too. I'm not getting dates because all those other women are prettier than me. Maybe it's a personality issue. Like, you know, have you ever thought about that? That maybe it's because you go on Reddit and shit on women all day for not dating you. Maybe it has nothing to do with women. Yeah, like, you know, there's like such a thing as too much exercise.
No, exercising isn't about trying to look attractive. Exercising is to take care of your body. And if you feel good, you look good. No, I think there's like a confusion a lot of people have between like exercising for like, they think that people only exercise because they want to look attractive. But like the attractiveness isn't a result of the working out. Like the attractiveness is a result of having confidence in yourself that you care enough about yourself to work out. And when you work out, your body kind of follows suit, and that also comes across as attractive because people are attracted to physical features. You know, have you ever asked yourself that maybe when you think these things that maybe you're projecting this? Like, I mean, have you ever considered that? That like maybe when you think that you're like, you see a dude working out and you're like, oh, that dude just wants to be the ultimate form. It's like maybe you want to be the ultimate form. Maybe that guy just likes working out and he really, you know, he has a lot of friends and they all work out together and it's a part of his daily routine. He's super healthy. Maybe he's managing diabetes. You know, like there's all sorts of reasons why someone might, yeah, you're a narcissist. No, I don't think it's a narcissist. I think everybody's just kind of, we're all stuck in our own dialogue. It's not narcissism. Narcissism is when you think that you're above everyone else and so you manipulate people to get what you want. That's what narcissism is. It's because where your needs are above everyone else's. It's a very different thing than being not self-centered, but like self-influenced or like you're kind of like your own North Star, or you're kind of like, you're looking out for your own best interest. Those are normal things that everybody does. If you're working out, you're going for the ultimate form. Yeah, exactly. See, you're actually more of a gym bro than those guys that you're accusing of being gym bros. You know, if you're the kind of guy or the kind of girl that goes to the gym and you're jealous of all the people who are there like super ripped out and you're like, oh, they're probably only like that for status, or they're probably only like that. It's like those are actually things that you're thinking. They may end up being that. I mean, that's totally possible. It is a thing. But it's still nothing you know about. Like, you only know what your own thoughts are. So if you're thinking those things, it's because you're thinking those things. It may not be true. No, ego-oriented, narcissism is a more like kind of nefarious thing. Like narcissism is like, I'm going to get what I want because I'm more important than other people. So in a relationship, I'm going to, you know, make this person love me. I'm going to make it so this person won't want to leave me. I'm going to abuse this person, but then like, you know, they might even do it subconsciously, but there's this abusive behavior that narcissists will do where they abuse you either verbally or physically. And then they start like, you know, saying, oh, well, if only you were a better wife, or if only you were a better partner, if you were a better girlfriend, or if you were more faithful to me, this wouldn't be happening. And then like, even if it's not like outright, some people literally do that, but subconsciously, the person who's being abused is going to internalize that I'm only getting hurt because it's something I did. But that's actually not what's going on. You're hurt because that person is a narcissistic asshole. That person is beating you up. That person is yelling at you and tearing you down. But what happens is people are actually very, like, we're much more harsh to ourselves than we are to others. And so what happens is people who are in abusive relationships will blame themselves for why they're being treated that way. They're like, oh, he's only hitting me because I was unfaithful, or he's only hitting me because I, you know, am not putting out as much, or because I need to be, you know, more involved in the relationship or whatever. But that's what they want, subconsciously or consciously. It might not even always be consciously. These people, and also, you know, it's like I'm sometimes worried that I might be narcissist, but that I think that's an autism thing, and I think it's more like I just kind of have a self like narrative that I kind of see the world from my own point of view, and everybody does. But I think with me, it's like I have a really hard time actually feeling like I understand other people, but in reality, I'm like extremely empathetic and extremely compassionate and understanding of other people. You're already hot and fit. How do you keep it going for it to look? You have to maintain your body. There's ways to push your body to go above, but at some point you really have to make sure you're not pushing it so far that you're actually harming your health. It's really, you got to be really careful because it's so easy to overdo it, and a lot of people just work out more, but sometimes you have to like not work out as much, and if you do, you have to like make sure you're eating enough like protein and stuff to match that. Your self narrative is interesting. 18 years waiting for surgery. Yeah, I mean, it was a fucking... It does feel like I'm in a movie sometimes. It's pretty normal, though. Some people wait like 30 or 40 years. Like, I'm actually like one of the luckier people. Because I figured it out that I couldn't wait any longer. You know, I think a lot of it is, you know, there's been a lot of movement in the world of more people accepting trans medicine. And if you really want to go back in history, I've talked about this a few times. You could go and research it if you want. It's definitely all publicly documented. But what's going on now was actually like with the like, you know, momentum that's happening with trans medicine and with trans acceptance. It was starting to happen in the 1930s in the area in Nazi Germany and and surrounding countries. There were gender clinics starting to pop up. People were researching this, like scientists were researching transgender people. People were like, why are certain people like this? Let's look into this because this is interesting. This is like human psychology. This is biology. There's all sorts of science involved. Like there's obviously a reality that a certain percentage of people are trans and will have trans characteristics, because not everybody does this. Not everybody wants to, you know, like, not everybody really like has these kind of life. Like, cisgender people don't think that they need to be the other gender. That's why they're cis and not trans. Like, that's what cis means. Cis means on the same side of. It's a scientific term. But people were starting to study trans medicine back in the 1930s. That's when the original surgery that was very imperfect. But the original surgery from male to female was invented in like the late 20s, early 30s. The first one ever that was documented was like in 1930, I think. And it was like in Sweden or something. I don't know. But it was just starting to grow. It was like people were talking about it. People were actually starting to like learn and like research, like scientists and doctors. Like, we're starting to like, you know, estradiol was synthesized. So people were able to start, you know, like, hey, like, I feel this terrible feeling and I start estrogen and now I start to feel like life is okay. And then people started like, you know, actually like transitioning. And guess who put a stop to that? And his name rhymes with a Smurf Miffler. Yeah, gym bros and gym girls, they do intimidate me. Not really like intimidating, but it's just like they're a different type of personality. There's like this like kind of like, not like anger or violence. I think violence is the wrong term, because it's very obvious when people are violent. People who like work out and stuff are actually like, I feel like they're not violent. Like, they're the furthest from violent that I've ever noticed, because I feel like people who are confident in their body and who take care of their body, all the violent tendencies, I mean, why would you need to be violent if you're like buff? Like, it's like they're so confident in their ability to take care of themselves, to handle themselves, they don't need to be violent. So they're like super kind. Like, have you noticed that? Like, people who are really buff, I mean, at least, you know, obviously there's always going to be assholes, but people who are like super buff are like really nice. I mean, I think that was the launch pad. I don't want to get into the geopolitics of this, but if I want to, you know, maybe you should ask like it's a fascinating topic. It's a really fascinating topic, because I don't think it's mostly. I mean, I think historians should discuss this, but I think there's a bigger picture. I think that was a launching point for their anti-Semitic agenda. I think it was easier to, and that's kind of what's happening today. Have you noticed that all the like super Nazi people, and they are Nazis, like the Proud Boys and all those shit, like the Nick Fuentes types, the neo-Nazis people, they're still around. They just have different names. And they're using the transphobia rhetoric the same way that the Nazis Germany did. Because it's easier to get people who are already such a small, insignificant, but significant. Because, 1% of 8 billion is still like 8 million, or whatever. But, or like 80 million. Yeah, it's 80 million people. That's not a insignificant amount of people. But, there's 8 billion people on the planet. So, I mean, it's insignificant compared to the entire population. But, like, it's still 80 million people estimated are trans. And so it's hard for us to have a voice. And it's hard for people to rally behind us. And it's taken a lot of effort these past, 10 years. I think there's been more significant movement for trans people in the past 10 years, even in the past 5 years, than there has been, in all of history, maybe since the 60s. It's easier to, we're an easy target. And it's easy to mislead people down a path of hatred when you can more easily say things that are common sense. But just because something's common sense, at first glance, doesn't mean it's true. And people will come up with all sorts of misinformation about trans medicine or about trans people, or they'll point at the absolutely worst examples of people's behavior and they'll say that's trans people, they're crazy, they're psycho, look at, you want these people around your children. It's the same exact kind of dialogue that Nazi Germany did. Oh, these are psychos, these are freaks, these people are going to, undermine our society. That's it's the same kind of stuff, and it's really scary that we're living in this kind of time again. I thought we would never live through that, but it's happening in my lifetime, and I'm the target of it nonetheless. It's really scary. Back then, the trans people and the gay people and the mentally ill people and the Jewish people, among other people, were all targeted. And it's just the Jewish people are the most well known because that was the largest population and that was the main target of their agenda because they were anti-Semitic. But when it comes to it wasn't just Jewish people they targeted. If I was transitioning back then, I would have been lined up and shot, or I would have been brought into a concentration camp right along with all the Jewish people. I'm not even sarcastic. Although I don't know if I would have been strong enough to transition in that kind of environment. In fact, I almost wasn't strong enough. It took a push in the right direction from society to give me the strength I needed. So I'm actually pretty damn weak. I know people say I'm strong and I'm brave. I'm really not brave at all. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. The only reason I was able to transition was because of the hard work of other people. Yeah, I mean, I just hide. I'm a survivor. But I got tired of hiding. And I said, you know what? It's either this or I lose my life. And I didn't want to lose my life because I'm a survivor. So, I had to start transitioning. I don't really want to speak about the realities of 1930s Nazi Germany because I wasn't there, and I have researched it. I have read about it. I've seen documentaries about it. But I just don't think I don't deign to know the realities that people lived with. I know the realities I'm living with now, but even that is very limited. I actually don't know the realities I live in. I think now is probably the most free that trans people have ever been throughout history. Except for in certain areas of the world. Certain areas of the world, trans people were actually celebrated and like central parts of their culture. like especially in like indigenous cultures, like Native American cultures had like two-spirit people, and I'm part Native American, so like, I mean, I guess if I were to join my tribe, and I think at the moment they live in Oklahoma, there's kind of a consolidation of tribes that happened. A whole bunch of different tribes kind of live on the same land now, and it's called like Creek Nation. They're all like basically Creek Nation, like Creek tribes, but now they have like a consolidated tribe called Creek Nation, like the Muskegee, the Cherokee, and all sorts of different other things. I don't even know. I haven't researched too much into my heritage. But if I wanted to, I could get like, you know, I could get the documentation for my heritage and apply for Creek Nation. If I, you know, but I would have to be in Oklahoma to reap the benefits of that, and I don't want to live in Oklahoma. And I also don't really feel connected with my native culture. But if I were to be involved with that, and I would be involved with the religious ceremonial aspect of it, I would take the role of a two-spirit like healer, most likely. My family, you know, on that side of my family, we're all healers, you know, like shamans and healers. I would, you know, from what I understand, I may be wrong, but you know, this is what I was told. I would have been a healer. And a lot of the times, two-spirit people, which are trans people, by, you know, the definition of the umbrella, you know, maybe if not self-identified, because they identify as like, you know, their tribal identity, which is like two-spirit. They were usually the people who were like the healers and the shamans and stuff. Trans politically won the war because we had to. They dragged it into politics. And it's like, it's not, if you're right, you don't really need to defend yourself. Like, it'll just people will eventually just, like, the facts will speak for themselves. Yeah, there's old school trans and new school trans. The new school is without the struggle. I'm somewhere in between, because I didn't struggle the whole time. Luckily, the newer generation and the people who, you know, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. The people who shed blood for my right to transition allowed me to transition. And that, I mean, maybe I'm being too harsh on myself, but I feel like I'm actually weak. If I was strong, I would have been able to transition 18 years ago. 18 years ago, though, I was scared to death. I came out as trans and I met nothing but pushback from my friends and family. Like, I had a cousin, you know, we played Final Fantasy 11 together. I told my Link Shell, which is like my guild, I told them that I was trans and I want the surgery back when I was like 18. And word got around to my family and friends who were also in the Link Shell. I don't know why I didn't realize it would get around to them. I guess maybe I subconsciously wanted them to know, and that was my way of coming out. Yeah, no one's ever as strong as an OG. That's why they're OG. But I think I'm strong in different ways, and it allows me to be strong in different ways. I don't have to be strong in that way, so I can use that strength in other ways. To be able to stand strong and out and about in the public without hiding. And I'm like streaming and like on social media with my face and with my name. That's actually really hard for a lot of people to do because of the harassment. But I don't know how to live any other way, because I've been like this even before I transitioned. I used my real name back then too. You know, it's not my real name anymore. But you know, I used my name back then too. First, last name. It was the same as my birth certificate. And now I'm using the same as my amended birth certificate. And I don't really see any reason to not, because like there's public figures who are very publicly documented, who are out in the public, who have like millions of followers on Twitter. They're using their real name. You know, so if I'm like a nobody with like 1,000 followers, like why not? You know, if there seems to be, and also like if you really think about it this way, people have been living in the public since the beginning of human society. Like I'm just a public type of person. I may not have the clout at the moment, but I'm a public type of person. that's just who I am, for better or for worse. It's not, there's no conditions. When I stopped having outward conditions determine my path, I started being a lot happier and a lot more successful. Because if I'm going to be waiting for other people to be okay with me, I'm never going to be able to start. Like, that's how I thought about transitioning, because it's like, if I was waiting for the whole world, or at least a large portion of the world, to be okay with me being trans, I would still be waiting. Like, you know, like, think about that. Like, I can't wait for other people to be ready for me. I need to be ready for me. And so when I made that decision, I started making that decision with other areas of my life. I'm like, why not? You know, why do I have to wait until this arbitrary moment to start making content? You know, why do I have to wait for this arbitrary moment? Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You're not famous. It's like, okay, how do you think famous people got famous? Do you think they waited till they got famous? I'm a girl. Well, I'm a woman. You know, I'm 36 years old. I was born a man. I read that wrong. I was assigned male at birth. Although I wasn't really, I mean, I guess I was assigned male, but I was never really a male, if that makes any sense. And I know it's really hard for people to wrap their mind around. And it's hard for me to wrap my mind around, because I feel sometimes like I'm a fraud. It's a very internal feeling. And I know people like constantly call us frauds, but who do you think started that bullying? Like, it's not other people. Like, the misgendering and the shame, that comes from inside, and we have to overcome that in order to transition. So other people can't possibly be worse than myself. Like, as far as like the shaming and name calling. I wonder who I will be an OG for. Am I going to be the very first trans person to be the top 0.1% on Twitch? That wasn't like famous before transitioning? Like, like, you know what I mean? Most people who are famous trans people, they were famous before they started transitioning. And this goes either direction. Trans men, like Elliot Page, for example. Like, he was like assigned female at birth. And he was famous, you know, known as female, like, socially. And then he came out, you know, when he felt, you know, brave enough. Or like Caitlyn Jenner, like, you know, was known as like a different name, like Bruce Jenner, for like the longest time. And then came out later in life after she felt, I don't like Caitlyn Jenner at all, but, you know, like, she's just like kind of grifting for the Republicans, kind of weird. But, you know, like, some people, they don't want to hurt their image. And if you look at how things turned out, yeah, like in the very short term, Caitlyn Jenner was like on the cover of, like, you know, the magazine or whatever, like, was she the cover of Time magazine, or was that Vogue? I don't know. But like there was like a whole bunch of media coverage on her, but then like people, you can't claim that she benefited from that, like, by any stretch of the imagination. That was like a short thing that, like, it was a big deal that she came out. It was all over the tabloids, all that. And she got so much shit for it, and she's still getting shit for it. And the people that she's grifting for will never accept her, because they're like super religious, fundamentalist, right-wing people. They say they accept trans people, but they really don't. It's weird, because it's like people, and for good reason, but like I said, other people are never going to be ready, so you just have to say, fuck it. I care about myself more than I care about my career. I care about myself more than I care about other people. So I'm just going to come out and not wait any longer. Because usually what happens is people are struggling with this internally and privately for many, many years. And sometimes, like it's the case with Christy Tyson, or I forgot what she changed her name to. Was it Christy? Like, you know, Mr. Beast's friend, I think Chrissy. Yeah, like Chrissy Tyson. She was transitioning already for like months or maybe even a year. Like, she had already been on hormones and with everybody in her personal life, she had already been transitioned. Like, already came out, already was living her life. But publicly, she didn't come out for like a long time. And then when she came out, everybody on fucking social media, they're like, why are all these celebrities suddenly coming out as trans? It's like, they're not suddenly coming out as trans. They're just suddenly, well, they are literally, in the literal sense, they're coming out to the public. But they were always trans, and they've probably been transitioning for a while. They've been struggling with this for a while, and then they're finally had enough with hiding. That's what it is. Infamy feels like it has a lot more. Yeah, with infamy, like, you can be the villain. I don't know about that, but if you make success as a villain, you're never going to not be successful. And because then you can always like become the non-villain again. Because then it's like you can have a redemption arc. But if you're the famous person and you become the villain, you have to start over from scratch. But if you start out as the villain, you're set for life. I mean, look at Trainwreck. That guy's set for life. None of those people are ever fucking leaving him. They're gonna follow him to the grave. They're gonna follow him to hell. They're gonna follow him to heaven if he, redemption arcs. Yeah, I mean, all the social media, it's all a fucking weird game, okay? It's all a fun distraction. I think it's funny. I think it's also sometimes inspiring, but like it's all I think the right word, you're right. It's all transitive. It's all like really kind of just like floating around stuff that people go through to the moon. It's all just a game. This social game that we play, it's a huge part of our survival in a lot of sense, but there's a certain point where you don't need to give a fuck about anyone anymore. I have woman voice. That's because I am a woman. Your name is Niku Balika. These are facts. That's a truthful statement. That's a truthful statement. I think for the most part, all the stuff that happens on social media, especially in like the Twitch sphere and the LSF sphere. Oh my god, Ara. You want to see my belly button again? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay? Jeez. Okay, I'm super fit and healthy, okay? I'm super fit and healthy. I have an innie, remember? You're confused? Don't be. Everyone can tap, I feel like everyone you know can tap into being famous as like an eject button if things get too hot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just the kind of person that I'm just going to accept whatever comes, and I'm going to do my best to be the best version of myself, and I could trust myself enough to know that I'm not the villain. And if things were ever getting bad, I would seek out counsel. I would see a therapist about it. I would ask people what I can do to be better. Because I already, honestly, I'm not famous, but I already had this redemption arc. These past 4.5 years have been the recovery from that. No, I'm not gonna push my belly button. What the hell's wrong with you? Honestly, I feel like maybe it's like autism, like self-centeredness. I've pretty much been famous my whole life. But like in like a private way. You know what I mean? I've been famous like within my little teeny tiny non-famous circle. I mean, I've always been really loud. I've always been the center of attention, and if I wasn't the center of attention, I made myself the center of attention. No! Get out of here. Stop being weird. I'm gonna give you a timeout for a week. Jesus Christ. Stop being weird.
Go get your belly button fixed somewhere else. That's not what this stream's about. This isn't a belly button stream. Jeez. Ugly people are so flesh hungry. I should only have sex with beautiful people. Here's the thing. I know that like I'm very selective about who I'm with. I've only been with 2 men and 2 women. I will not be with somebody unless they're going to be professional about it when I pursue my professional career. It might make me less money, but I feel like I'm going to be safer. And also I think I'm going to respect myself more, which is worth more than money. I will not be with somebody that I would feel like uncomfortable with or that I would feel like I'm lowering my standards for. But my definition of standards is not what most people would think about like physical beauty. 4 people only. I've only had sex with 2 men and 2 women. And they were all the wrong people. And I learned from it. That's why I've only been with 4 people. Every single person I was with was a new lesson. Well, here's the thing. Would I be a rookie if I didn't learn? If I had sex with 100 people and I made the same mistakes every time? I've seen it happen to too many people. Both in the real world and in the fictional world. For regrets, I don't say regret. I just said I made mistakes. A regret is something that you knew you could have prevented. I feel like a regret is something that where like you knew you were making a mistake at the time, but you did it anyway. That's a regret. I feel like if you get into something and you're not really sure, and you're like kind of misled or you're naive, and then you find out later that it was a mistake, then you learn from it. That's not a regret. That's just a life experience. But if then you do it again, then it's like, you know, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on... no, fool me once, shame on thee. Fool me twice, shame on me. 14 to 15 people, body count? They've all been girls. So you've never been with men. So you have more experience that you don't have. You don't know what it's like to be with a man. Being with men is very different, and especially since I'm female. So if you're a man, it's going to be a different experience than mine. I was with a man, the very first man I was with. I was pre-transition because that was a little bit like a few years after I came out as trans, but I hadn't transitioned, and I was kind of just I was somewhat private about it, but I told people that I was trans because I was testing it out. Here's the long and short of it for me. Some people are totally okay transitioning publicly and being their gender without hormones, and that's fine. There's a whole wide spectrum of trans people out there that are all sorts of different walks of life and have different comfort levels. But for me, I did not feel comfortable living as a woman when I was biologically like on testosterone and like looked like a man. I felt so uncomfortable, and I needed to be able to transition medically in order to feel comfortable with my gender. I would have felt so out of place because I felt like, honestly, like, obviously I have every right to feel like my gender and not like feel like an imposter, but socially I would have felt very ostracized, and being in women's spaces without transitioning would have felt really hard for me. In fact, I'm still having a hard time with it. There's like this imposter syndrome that's like, honestly, every woman I've been around has had zero problems with how I behave at all. Obviously, there's always going to be some woman that's like, that fucking bitch. Like, I don't even think that's happened unless it's behind the scenes, but I've never really had any, like, confrontations with people since I started transitioning.
Everything's just been peaceful for the most part. I've had some confrontations, but it wasn't related to me being a female. No, I had to transition, Niku. I'm gonna have a pussy soon. I had a more masculine voice when I was younger. Puberty hit me, but it didn't hit me too hard. I was pretty androgynous. But I was more masculine. The Asian streaming platform? Are you talking about Youku? Or are you talking about Billy? I don't even know what you're talking about. Or are you talking about Nico Doga? Nico Video. Back in the heydays. Yeah, it is disrespectful if somebody knows you're... I mean, it first of all, it goes two different directions. You're with somebody, and somebody's gonna try to hit on you while you're with somebody. It doesn't even matter, like, what gender. Like, that's really disrespectful. But also, if you've made it clear that you're only into women, and then this person, you know, he comes after you anyway, that's pretty disrespectful, too. I don't know if it's like that. I think you're I'm not saying prejudiced in the bad way. I think you're making a lot of assumptions. I think that's based on one single experience with a single person. I think we have to be like really careful of like slippery slope thinking. Of like, oh, you know, it's like, because that's a really generalized statement saying that like gay people are desperate because it's harder to find out who's gay. That's becoming less and less. I mean, the solution is just allowing people to be open instead of shaming them and making people feel like they're wrong for being gay or trans or whatever. But, you know, in the end of the day, I really don't think it's, I don't really think that's really very accurate because it's based on like a single example. Yeah, like it's just people, you know, gay people are not exempt from being shitty people. I know it's sometimes hard for people to admit this. Trans people are not exempt from being a shitty person. If I'm being a shitty person, I would hope that people would tell me. Because I would like to make adjustments if I feel it's justified. Like, obviously, if people think I'm a shitty person for something that's unreasonable, like, oh, you're a shitty person because, you know, you're trans. Like, okay, that's just transphobia. But like, if you're a shitty person because, you know, you said this thing to somebody and it was like someone's feelings got hurt and it was like kind of unreasonable for that person to make that claim that I'm being the asshole, then yeah, that's different. But like, if I'm like outright being an asshole, I would hope that people would like, you know, hold me accountable and like, hey, like, can you like, you know, like talk, like, can we talk about this? Like, can you make some changes or whatever? I do try my best. Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, I think this is basic human psychology. I think if people are in a relationship, people are like, I can't have that person. So, but those are usually like the most toxic people. Like, come on, like you have to have some kind of like issues if you're only going to be attracted to people who you can't get. Like, that's just like some kind of self-inflicted, like some kind of like self-inflicted, like just pain. Like, I don't really know. But look, I can talk for hours. I don't need to prove that. But yeah, I was heading out because I needed to head out. I really enjoy, and I'm not saying that like, you know, I really enjoy this talk. Like I was about to end the stream and then I got all excited, you know, when you started talking. So, you know, I was kind of like, okay, I need to take a break from WoW. I'm gonna log out. Yeah, self-inflicted perspective. I don't really know. I don't make any claims that are. I think it's so easy, and this is one of the issues I have with Asmongold, for example. I think he goes way too quickly, especially, and I think his community enables it. A lot of people, not just him, but a lot of people have this tendency to like think one thing based on anecdotal evidence and then apply that to like every single situation. And it's like, if you just take a small step back and kind of put things in perspective, like, is that really a reasonable claim? Or are you just saying that in the context of that thing you said and it makes sense based on that specific context? It's really hard to judge because I'm like this too. I'm not exempt. Like, I'll get stuck in those kind of things too. Hey, maybe you should stop being such a cuck. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't really care when people talk like that. I'm just like, okay, whatever, shut the fuck up. But if people are gonna be like, hey, touch your belly button, and they say it over and over and over, and I'm gonna be like, dude, that's a little weird. I'm not gonna do that. It's not that kind of stream. I don't know if he has a low body count. I don't think anybody knows that except him and the people he's been with. I'm pretty sure he's probably can get laid anytime he wants. He's gonna go through a whorish phase. What if Asmongold is trans? Are we gonna have Transmongold? Like, think about it. What if the reason he's been such an unhealthy looking person? What if it's because he's been dealing with gender dysphoria? Jake and Bake? Yeah, Jake and Bake is great. I love that guy's content. And he played Final Fantasy 11 apparently. I don't know if it was Jake and Bake or if it was either Jake and Bake or Jacksepticeye. I'm not sure. But Ninja played Final Fantasy 11 at the same time I did back when we were in high school. I remember, like, I watched Ninja play Final Fantasy 11 on the private server, and he was really trying to get Square Enix to make an official classic server, but that's never gonna happen. And they've all but publicly admitted that if you want to play classic, you have to use the current resources available. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Which means that you have to play on private classic servers. But I remember, like, talking to Ninja for a while. I was in his social guild for a little bit. Eric's guild. It was like Teletaxi on Wings, on the Wings private server. I was actually in Ninja's guild for Link Shell for a bit, and I talked with Ninja a little bit. Not while he was on stream, because I didn't want to, like, spam his stream. I made sure that when I talked to him, it was like, when he said, like, yeah, I can talk. And I don't want to divulge the details because it was like DMs. I'm not trying to, like, flex or anything. I'm just saying, like, literally, like, cool dude. Like, he'll chat with people. Like, he likes chatting with his chat. I know people will give Ninja shit, but he's very interactive with his chat. And, like, he would even DM me. Like, when I DM'd him, like, he would reply. Like, and obviously, of course, he's going to be treating everything like as if he was public, because he's a professional streamer. I didn't see it as like a parasocial thing. I just wanted to, like, reach out as a fan, and we both played the game together. And it's something that, like, not many people really grew up with. It's a very niche MMO. Most people grew up with World of Warcraft. Final Fantasy 11 was really not as popular as WoW. It's still played. There's still new people coming in, but, like, retail Final Fantasy 11 is very different. And the only way to play Classic is on private servers, which are imperfect and also customized now. Like, Horizon has, like, an average of, like, 1,000 to 3,000 players, which is a lot, especially for a private server. Because, like, Nozomi had, like, an average of, like, 300 to 500 players. So Nozomi was really good. Pink Sparkles 3.0. Okay, I'm not gonna make fun of you for the parasocial Andy. I think with Asmongold, I can give you a pass because I feel like he so rarely has had, like, public relationships, and it doesn't look like he's doing it for content. So I can kind of give you a pass on this. That he's just kind of the reason why he brings somebody he may or may not be having a relationship with, which I don't even know if that's true or not. Has he actually said that they're in a relationship? Either way, it's none of my business. It's just another streamer. It's another person. Kaisei. Like, she's just a person. And, if she's going to be on his stream, I'm glad he's talking to people. It's glad to see him, expand his experiences from just playing in his bedroom. Oh, you just discovered me this morning? I've been watching Asmon for the past, like, couple of years. He's changed a lot over the past 3 years. I feel like he's grown as a person. He seems a little bit more reasonable to talk about issues. Like, he seems a lot more well balanced with his like, you know, with his analysis of some things. Some things I highly disagree with, but I also think that like, you know, he's a reasonable person, and he seems to have made an effort to like kind of not be as toxic. I used to think he was really toxic. I kind of like personally canceled him for the longest time. And he used to, and I don't know if he still, he seems to be pretty accepting of trans people, but I know that he's had not so positive opinions about trans people. But I feel like he's like a conversation or two away from like kind of getting it. And I already kind of see that he's kind of getting it. Like, I think he's a man of science. I know it's like kind of it sounds like I'm memeing, but like what I mean by like, you know, man, like that he's a man of science is that he's generally open to listening to like scientists and like listening to like, you know, studies and data, and the overwhelming amount of research shows that trans medicine is like really good and that it's not harmful at the very slightest. Obviously, it's going to be harmful to a very small percentage of people. Nobody's 100% guaranteed to have positive results. But like, neither is like going in for like a knee surgery, you know? Some of the things I'm really kind of still mad about, like, I'm not mad, but like, I'm kind of upset. I feel a little uncomfortable, like when he talks about, certain things and he just basically kind of slippery slopes. And also, it's like he's just kind of mean sometimes. Like he'll talk about overweight people and like say like, oh, this fat fuck, and like, okay, it's like it I don't know. I feel like eventually he might come around, but either way, it has nothing to do with me. He's another content creator. He's just in the space, you know. I know who I am, and that's what matters. I know what my values are, and that's what matters. Hey, he's playing Power World. The gaming dream. Yeah, I'm not playing Power World. I'm playing World of Warcraft right now. Well, I'm glad you found me. I hope you enjoy your stay. I really enjoy this conversation. I hope I don't, you know, I kind of got over this like, oh, what am I accidentally going to say that's going to get me canceled on the internet? Like, fuck all that. I get to say, I have confidence in what I believe. And I'm very open, and I know who I am. Like I said, I know that if I say or do something wrong, I will do whatever's possible to rectify that situation. And obviously, people are going to think whatever the fuck they're going to think. But, you know, I know what I mean. And even if I say things, you know, not perfectly sometimes, I could always, you know, reasonable people will understand that and be willing to have a decent conversation. And also, I think reasonable people don't even really care because I'm just a random stranger on the internet. The YouTube algorithm stuff. Yeah, I mean, I mostly only watch him through YouTube also. Like, I just kind of watch the clips. His editor's pretty funny. Sometimes his editor inserts, like, too much personal opinion into it. I don't think it's... I mean, obviously, it's whatever. Because obviously, Asmin must be okay with it if it's, like, going on. You know, it's like... I don't think he really cares about, like, anything. I mean, except he does. He totally cares about stuff. He says he doesn't care. That guy, man. He's quite a character, man. He's fascinating. Like, scientists should, like, study him. Like, he needs, like, a researcher, like observing him in his home. Like, and documenting his eating habits. I'm betting it's multiple people. Yeah, there's so much content. And there probably is an AI. There's got to be humans involved, but I mean, there's most likely an AI involved. You know, scouring through content, and then humans, like, you know, will like veto stuff or whatever. Who knows? I have no idea. Who knows? Nobody knows. But you know who does knows? This knows. Yeah, part of my facial feminization, by the way, was part of my facial feminization was actually the rhinoplasty. So my nose, this is a surgery altered nose. This orbital bone is surgery altered. This hairline is surgery altered. You know, it used to be all like kind of up here. You know, like where's the scar? You know, like well, where's the other part of it? I don't know. It's all blended. Oh yeah, there it is. Like it used to be like up here and like fucked up. But you know, I got surgery. Hairline, yeah, exactly, yeah. And then I also got some like jawline contouring and apple reduction. And I guess there was like some lip, not a lip injection, but well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, my doctor did really good work, and it's subtle enough that it's not like super plastic surgery. It's just subtle. Like, you know, I want my natural beauty, which is imperfect, because I'm not perfect. Well, I mean, I should accept that I'm nothing short of perfect. But you know, like I feel like beauty has imperfections, and I think like the facial surgery, what it does is it kind of just like kind of softens the features without like overdoing it. Because if I went further, then I would look like a Gen Z influencer. We gotta make Asmon beautiful. Imagine if Asmon was struggling with gender dysphoria this whole time. Could you imagine? I feel so sorry for that person. Am I projecting? No, like imagine if this whole time the reason he's been the way he is because of gender dysphoria. Like, my heart would go out to that person. What if he still identified as male, but he just wanted to be a femboy? And he wanted to, like, take hormones and be like everything like Asmon girl, but, like, still like a femboy. And then get penis enlargement. Yeah. Oh, and still, like, I still have a vein that pops out ever since I had the surgery too. And that's been kind of an issue. You know, like, well, now when I'm trying to do it. Hammer of the Gods. Yeah, I mean, imagine if he went full femboy and then got like a fucking giant Starforge logo. Like, redefining masculinity. Like, yeah, I'm on estrogen. What of it? Like, that's more masculine than you could ever possibly imagine, man. Asmongold, the most manly of men. Injecting hormones. Looking with tits. With a true titan with a beard, and he keeps the beard, and also he has the option to like not be bald, and he goes even balder. Do you still play chess? I'm taking a big break from chess. I'm just playing World of Warcraft and waiting for that surgery. I don't know, I try not to be like I mean, I know I'm like kind of memeing, but like it really is that diversive, man. Like, we have a lot of diverse people out there. There are people who are self-identified femboys who are trans feminine. Like, you know, they're like me, but they identify as male and they don't want surgery. You know what I mean? Like, they'll take hormones, but they'll identify as male. And that's perfectly fine, I think. I think every man should look the way they want to look. Like, you know, they have to accept the responsibility that comes with, like, they're gonna grow tits. Some people take a lower dosage, but they're still gonna grow tits. So you gotta be okay with growing tits, you know? They don't get super big, but, you know. Well, I'm kind of hiding them right now. I'm in, like, pajama girl mode. Yeah, all men will tremble. You make him a man titan? He is a man titan. What are you talking about? Have I always had long hair? I actually had long hair when I was growing up, and maybe that was subconsciously trying to be more feminine, but for a while I did shave my head and keep short hair. And
and stuff like that. I was like, and I tried to have like a full beard. I did the whole like trying to be masculine thing. An Adonis. I looked very gender neutral, but I was more on the masculine side. And now I'm actually still kind of gender neutral, but I'm more on the female side. So it's kind of like I just moved the needle. Like, it's kind of interesting. I really like, I know that like right now, this is pretty much all that's on my mind. And of course, I can talk about whatever I want. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like I talk way too much about my trans stuff. Some people might think that, and they can think whatever they want. Some people say it's okay, and it's like, well, what if I don't think it's okay? Like, what if I want to actually have like my personality be about more than just that? And I know that I have plenty of personality. Like, I need to stop worrying about this kind of shit. Well, I am 100% girl. You mean like 100% like, you know, like assigned female, which is different, like biologically. And also there are women who are like intersex who are actually XY chromosome. And like they were assigned female at birth, but they're intersex and their chromosomes are actually male chromosomes. But there was like a deviation at some point that like made them female instead. Like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, and when I have a pussy, it's going to be really hard for people to know. And honestly, I would feel a lot safer. And also because I know some people get really offended if you don't tell them that you're trans and you're with them sexually. So if I was ever going to be intimate with somebody or get involved with somebody more than just, you know, just being a friend, and even a friend too, I feel like this is an important part of my life and it's a significant part of my life. Like, I still feel like it would be okay to like talk to, like, I would want to tell people about this, like that I'm trans, like, especially if I'm gonna have sex with them, because some people are like, I don't want to have sex with somebody who used to have a penis. And yeah, and that's also like a good filter, because I wouldn't really want to be with somebody who thinks like that, because that's really weird. Like, anybody who would see this like beautiful, gorgeous woman in front of them, and like someone who was like getting close to you, and like you had your hands around this waist, and you felt this like female all over you with tits against your chest, and like you felt down and she had like a nice booty, and then there's like a pussy there, and then feel like that's a man. like that's just weird. Like, seriously. And I know it goes against the argument that gender is more than just appearance, but like, it's just really fucking weird when you like, you identify as female, you look traditionally female, and nobody can tell the difference. But like, at what point are people just mentally ill? Like, impossible to tell. I don't know. Sometimes my voice gives me a little away, but I've worked on my voice a lot. I am still very upset about my singing voice, but that can be trained. It's going to take a long time. I was trained as a tenor, and with singing voice, it takes a long time to train yourself out of your singing voice. It takes years. And I don't even have a coach at this moment, and I'm going to end the stream. I am going to be connected at some point in the future. I think there's an agency in Texas that does like telehealth, that will be able to work with me with my vocal goals, and they have singing coaches. So I would be able to like have one-on-one coaching to to reach my singing voice goals. Because I can reach the pitch for the most part. I can't reach the like absolutely insane highest pitch, which even cisgender women who are assigned female at birth, you know, even women who were assigned female, like, don't, you know, have a hard time with that. Even like opera singers, like professional opera singers, can't always get that like high F sharp or whatever, or that high F. You know, the one that breaks glass. Like, obviously I can't go that high. I can probably get, I don't know, it depends on the day and the time of day and how warmed up my vocal folds are.
But in any case, I don't want to injure myself. So I really do. I mean, sometimes I embarrass myself and I sing and I practice on stream. I do that because even if I'm like not like a superstar at something, I have a thing where if I do something publicly, it gives me more feedback. And not only that, it gives me more like confidence because I know that even though I'm not like a professional level at something, I have the confidence to go out and do it in public because I'm a performer. Yeah, I can get the pitch. But I can't really get the resonance all the way. Pitch is not the only thing. In fact, pitch is like probably like, I mean, obviously you need pitch for like the soprano range. But pitch is probably like the least important part of feminizing your voice because I mean, most women I know talk like me. Like pitch is like not even like a thing. And there's also a lot of men that talk in a really high pitch. So I'm just going to kind of like play for a second here. It wasn't really matched, but I sound really bad, I think, with my singing. I tried singing again the other day. Let me try to just find this again. Yeah, let me hear it. This is the one that synced more. Vittoria, 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 mio cuore, non lagrimar più, non lagrimar più, e sciolta d'amore la servitù. Vittoria, Vittoria, mio cuore, non lagrimar più, e sciolta d'amore la servitù, e sciolta out of pitch. That's enough of that for now. Yeah, I mean, so like obviously I still have a lot of issues, but I also don't think that that's kind of like I've reached to the point I think where I have the same kind of pitfalls or the same kind of challenges that like all female singers have. La vir servitude. No, it's la servitude. I think it's like I'm a slave to your love, I think. Or like I am like I don't know, Italian. I think la sciolta d'amore la servitù. Not I think it's like ser, I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, Vittoria lyrics translation. Giacomo Carissimi. Victor Mine. Okay, so like he said, the humiliating servitude of love is loosen. Oh, sciolta means to like let loose, I guess. So like now you're like holy I think this is like finding someone. I think this is about breaking up with somebody it's like I think this song is about like breaking up with somebody. It's victory, victory, my heart, don't weep anymore. The humiliating servitude of love is loosened. This is like getting a divorce. Before the cruel against you, into a multitude of gazes with leer charms, arranged her tricks. Frauds and griefs no longer take place. The warmth of his cruel fire has been extinguished. From pleasant lights no longer does leave a dart that could a mortal lesion rush in my breast. No longer in pain, in troubles, I macerate myself. All ties are broken. The fear disappeared. This is about getting divorced. Like, holy shit. Holy shit, like 1600s Italian aria. Like, I think it's both directions. I think it was talking about multiple characters. Like, it was talking about her tricks, her lies. I think it was like the point of view of the person, whether it was a man or woman, who was with like somebody who was like, you know, really like tearing their heart apart, like somebody who was like abusing them, you know, in whatever way possible. And I think it's about like, obviously it's really lighthearted. Okay. Like the poetry back then was very different. If you translate it literally, it's really kind of crazy. Like if you go back into like Italian arias and Italian operas and stuff and you translate it all, it's pretty brutal. But like it's like over exaggerated, and it's also kind of like you put it to music that's really light and like fanciful. So it's like people had a weird sense of humor back then. Like it was just different time. But yeah, like I do, if I sing too much, I stop as soon as I start straining my vocal folds too much, because honestly, my singing voice was trained in a lower range and with a male resonance. And so like it's gonna, and so even though I'm not new to singing, I'm new to this resonance and this range. And so it's going to take many years and hopefully having a coach to retrain my body to be able to sing in an alto and soprano range, without injuring my voice. And the thing is if you sing too much, especially if you're straining, like you're constricting your muscles, or you're like moving your jaw, you're constricting your jaw, like everything should just be like a mask. Like it's like an iron mask. Like I played clarinet. I studied in college. You'd only have to go to the French. They'll tell you if you're in true love or not. Yeah, the French, they seem to have a monopoly on love. Yeah. But anyway, I can talk for like literally 12 hours straight. And also, I did do a video analysis commentary. I don't know if that's the video you saw, but I did 11 hours of commentary over Asmongold's 2-hour video that he was talking about, responding to comments about Pal World. I added 9 hours of additional commentary. I played the whole video, but it took me 11 hours to do it. So that means that I had the video paused for 9 hours. What the fuck is wrong with me? What is actually wrong with me? I can talk for 9 hours for a 2-hour video, making a total of 11 hours. By the end of it, I was pretty damn tired, to be honest. I was like, kind of like, okay, let's just get through this. Like, damn, like, how do these streamers do this every day? I guess you just get better at it. You just kind of like get used to it. 1 hour, 20 minutes into a 3-hour vid. Oh, that's the vid where you're coming from. Oh, you were watching at mine, or you were watching Asmongold? Because, I mean, I guess you could see the video. It's going to take you 11 hours to watch the whole video, though. I'm going to tell you that. Spoiler alert. If you're watching my video in order to watch Asmongold, it's going to take 11 hours. It took 2 streams. It took me 2 streams, and it was the same day. I just had a meeting in between. And that's actually the meeting where I learned about the vocal coaching opportunity. But that might not happen for quite a while. It's probably going to be sometime after my surgery as well. Anyway, I gotta get going. Oh, there's another 3 hours one. I don't know what that one is. There was one where I was talking about, I guess there's another video where I was talking about Asmon. The Pow World one, it took me 11 hours. Yeah, it was nice to meet you, and I'm glad you found my channel, but I actually am gonna go now, so make sure to like and subscribe, and you can catch me live usually around this time. Right now it is 12:33. Usually I'll stream at like somewhere around 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. or so is usually when I start, if I'm going to start in the morning. Otherwise, I kind of like, do my own thing, and I'll come back later in the afternoon or later in the evening. Lately, I've just been kind of streaming whenever I want to hang out and play World of Warcraft, and I'll just play for like sometimes even like an hour at a time, or I'll play in a big giant chunk. But basically, I'll play, and then I'll end the stream and turn off the PC. I'll go out and do like a bike ride or something, and then I'll come back. I really don't have much going on except for taking care of my health and playing WoW and doing my stream. And I'm in like just keep myself where I need to be so I can get this surgery to happen, and so I can like recover like a boss and just be fucking good. That's where I am. But anyway, catch you later. Bye bye.